Hello, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coco with me, your host, Coco. As you can see, today is exciting because I have a special guest. So, in my last episode, I let you all know that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, who better to have as a guest this month than my very best friend, who is a licensed clinical social worker? So, welcome to Kenisha. Let me get you.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for taking time for me, per usual. Did you notice I wore my shirt today?
Yes, yes. I love it. I love it. I tried to be a little festive today. I'm like, talk about it in therapy. I don't know if that's,
Oh, you're being professional. Oh, that's
I'm
cute.
trying. I'm
I
trying.
love that. Oh, yes, we are going to get into not all things mental health related because we would be here all night, but we are going to kind of pick and choose a few topics to go into. And we'll kind of give a disclaimer, mainly if your audio. We do have small children in the background, and if they need their mama, then we're going to accommodate that. So that's just a disclaimer, just in case you hear some kids in the background, because
Yes.
we are multitasking right now. But yes, welcome. Glad to finally get you on. Super excited.
Thank you
So
for
we're going to get
having
into it.
me.
So to start off, before we get into like the nitty gritty, I wanted to surprise you and have a little fun. So
Okay.
I have my What's My Mood segment.
Like damn, she in her mood. Like damn, she in
So
her
usually
mood.
for this segment, I play a song in relation to my mood. So originally I was like, I'm gonna play Golden Girls. Because I mean, duh.
Yeah.
Um, but I said instead, I was going to, I'm in like a nostalgic mood. And I felt like you would kind of be on that vibe with me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put up some pictures on the screen just for us to kind of go down like our friendship memory
Aw.
lane. So to
Yeah.
give you all like background, we have been friends since the summer of 2005. We are going into our 20th year of friendship next year. I think
Yeah.
me and Quita just thought about that. If I added that, yeah. And so we need to figure out something. I don't know. We need to take a trip. We need to finally get
I
tattoos.
agree.
We need to do something.
Yeah.
But we met on Marquette campus in the summer EOP program. Um, she was sitting on the couch in the common area. She had these long nails that had like fire on them. Have
Mm-hmm.
her long hair with her
Well,
highlights.
she went to Marquette too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
You said you
Yeah.
weren't talking
I
today.
know, but I have a question. Why does Marquette like discriminate against the acceptance? They only accept chocolate. They only accept chocolate. I promise everybody I know who
No.
went to,
No.
I know no light skinned women
Oh,
who
we
went to,
definitely do.
I know
Oh no,
no
we got a couple. I just thought about three off the top
I
of my
listen off the
no
top of my head.
nope.
head.
Yeah.
I know no light skinned women who went to
No, we
Marquette.
definitely.
Every time it's always somebody chocolate.
Yeah, no, we
Con-
definitely.
Continue.
Yeah,
No.
I literally just like thought same. I thought a few.
This is
I mean, because we
that's
would
a
be
man.
around.
That's a
We were
Marquette.
around
That's a
some.
Marquette Mandela
Oh
effect.
yeah.
They were chocolate too. Y'all just don't recognize
I
them.
feel like they might have got more discriminatory like
Y'all think.
after the fact.
Look,
But
look. She thinking now. Maybe they were a little dark skinned. See,
No,
look,
no, we had some high yellow. We had some,
we definitely
the range of our colors.
did.
that's like Sinbad being in Shazam or whatever it is. Yeah, it's a Mandela effect. It never happened.
But yeah, she was sitting on the couch, and I just like, oh, okay, she thinks she all that. She got her hair and her nails, and then our other best friend was sitting on like the arm of the couch, and she was just a free spirit. She was who she was back then. But little did we know we would be the best of friends and still friends to this day.
Yeah.
So you can put up the first picture. So this picture, I looked at the time, the dates. This was
Oh,
November 2005. We
yep.
had been friends for a few months, and we were in your dorm. And I don't know what dorm this was. Was it Schrader?
Nope. You
Was it
want to know where
McCormick?
we were? That we weren't there. I think we were in one of the male dorms. I think we had went to
We
go
were. Yeah. Okay. Was that
to
that
visit Dante.
what was the other one? What was the name of their dorm? Oh,
I don't remember that. It was
I
a
keep wanting
small
to say
building.
B. That's exactly where we were.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All
It
right.
was a random night.
Oh, random night to many. Next slide, please. What do we have?
Oh,
Yes. I took my first trip out of the country with
yeah.
Kenisha. It was me, her, and her mom, and we went to the Bahamas.
Yep.
I don't remember what year this was, but this was back when you can go out of the country with just a birth certificate.
I think that might have been 2006.
Yeah, I think, but it was still freshman year, so maybe it was early 2006. Maybe it was spring
It
break.
was that summer. Yeah, it might have been spring break of that summer.
Maybe, but
Was
yeah.
it a cruise?
No, we went to the Atlantis.
I don't remember having a birth certificate and having to go, but I might have.
Well, I was, you figure 18. Well, no, if it was summer, I would have been 19 then.
Yeah. Yep. Yes,
we
that
have
was
next?
our first trip together.
Yes.
Out the country. Yeah.
At this point, we have been friends for 4 years. I was very much in labor. And I was in labor at her house. This is when she stayed on Wells across the street from, what was it then? Was it George Webb then? Was it?
No,
was it
well,
George
George
Webb?
Webb, I think, was done, but it was across the street from the convenience store, and we were above the doghouse.
Open Pantry.
Open Pantry, yep. Open
Yep.
Pantry's on the corner, and
So
the
this was
doghouse.
upstairs from Real Chili.
Oh, Wells?
Yep.
Yes. Like 12th and Wells.
Oh, so not
like you know where Soul Women's is right now?
Yes.
It's on that same block, but upstairs.
Yep.
So you walk down and
It's right on the corner too.
Upstairs. Is there apartments up there?
Is that real? Is it Real Chili on that side?
Well, it was. I haven't been down
Yeah.
there. I don't know if Real Chili's still there.
It still
I
might
don't
be.
know if it's still there, but yeah.
The 7-Eleven across the street now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And-
it's a
and
7-Eleven. It used to be an Open Pantry.
And Qdoba, I think, is over there too.
Yep. Yep. Because on the corner used to be a bowling alley.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So I was in labor, and at this point, I had been in labor probably for like, it was over 10 hours at that point, and they had just sent me
over
home.
10 hours because I think that was after they sent us back home.
Yep. They sent us home, and I was deteriorating very quickly.
They're like, "Oh, she can go back home."
I was
Like,
so concerned.
yes, I was.
This is the first time she met her godson.
Yes, that's me and Billy.
2005. It was love at first sight.
Yes, it was.
Go to the next one. I don't know what y'all was talking about, but it was intense.
Yes, we
Well,
were.
this one, he was not even 1 year. June, July, August.
Nope. At an honorary mom house, and was that a holiday? I think that was a holiday.
No, I think that might have just been a rant. No, because that says February 28th.
Look like you took your glasses off your face.
You know what? Maybe it was something. I don't know if we got together for my birthday or if it was just something random based off of the date. Because that was right after my birthday.
Yep.
Yeah, so I might have just got together just because. That is crazy looking at him that small, and he is just like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then you can go to the next one. This was his first birthday.
Oh, yes, I remember those moments.
I feel like that literally seems like yesterday. And go to the next one. This is our whole friend group. So whenever you hear me talk about my best friends, like these are my best friends. This picture is so funny because everybody was drunk as hell. It's all in my face. We were in Vegas, and I don't know if this was Quita graduation or what, but we decided to. It was Halloween.
Yeah, it was graduation too. Yeah,
we decided to dress up as pinup girls. So everybody did their own version of like a pinup girl, and we were at a club, and this might have been the end of the night. At that point, I don't even remember. But yes, I feel like this is really an iconic picture for us. Like this is the picture. It's not often that all 5 of us get a chance to like get together as often as we like. But this was definitely like one of those times. Super dope. This was this year. No.
Last year.
Last year. We went to LA.
Yep.
That was last year in LA. We went to dinner. We were at a wine bar or something.
Yeah, it was a wine bar.
We have to get back. That was just that trip was amazing. And then you can go to the next one. I forgot which ones are. Oh, and this is the end. This is their family. So that's my baby on the left. What's absolutely hilarious about this picture is that my child looks like he belongs to them. He literally looks like he is.
You always say that though.
But he said the same thing when he looked. He was like, "Ma, I do look like." Yeah, you do. If you see him together, it's like, "Oh yeah, that's your mom." But if you see him with them, they blends in perfectly.
Yep, that is our big baby.
Yeah, but it's like when ask somebody to be your child's godparent, people really don't take that seriously.
Yeah.
For them, it's just like a title, and they don't put in the work that comes along with it. They might buy a gift here or there, whatever. But most of the times, you might not even see your godparent like at all.
Mhm.
And so most people tell me all the time just how like good of a godparent you are because there's action behind it.
Yeah.
It's not just a title. It's like we really come together and raise this child as a group. If there's
Yeah.
something going on, we talking about it, we're deciding on it. We might not always agree, but we do
Yeah.
whatever we need to do to raise him. And I think the person that he is, it shows, you
Yeah.
know.
I'm so
So
proud
yeah,
of him.
I know I am too. Yeah, it's been a journey. And I mean, you really one of the few people that like know me like from
Yeah.
the beginning, like all of the highs and the lows, the unhealed, the
That's what you
healed.
been through it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally have been like through the mud. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's always interesting to have a friend like that because when you see them kind of make it out of certain things, especially with me, for the people that have been around, kind of seeing me go through what I've gone through and to be where I am now, it hit different when you've been
Yeah.
there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And you still able to like be friends because a lot of people don't take friendship seriously, and that's something that we've always done.
Woo.
Like
That's a
here we
fact.
are, almost 20 years deep in this thing, you know. And I mean, we have highs and lows, but at the beginning of it all, or at the I guess I want to say underneath it all,
Mm.
there's love, you
Yeah.
know. Even if we might
Unconditional,
go back and forth, okay, love you, talk to you later, like still,
unconditional love at the end of
yeah,
the
and that's
day.
what it is. That's what it is. So yeah, I thought that would be fun. I thought you would like that.
Yes, I loved it.
So yeah, like I said, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And you have been a licensed clinical social worker for a little over 2 years now, correct?
Yes, it is.
Which
It's
is
been
crazy
two
because it
official
definitely,
years. Yep, two
yeah, it
years
does not
and a
feel
little
like
bit
it has.
over a month. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does not feel like it's been that long. Now, not only are you a licensed clinical social worker, you are also a licensed massage therapist as well.
Yes.
And I was trying to think back to like Marquette because I know there's been a journey and you've kind of like switched and kind of moved around from the beginning.
So it's been a journey.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was really trying to think back, like, okay, where did she start? Because it was the same with me. I was like, what did I start? I used to
Yeah.
say I wanted to be an investment banker and was in business, and then yeah,
And then
quite
yeah,
a pivot.
life took its path.
Yeah,
And
and we still trying to figure it out. So yeah, talk a little bit about what made you pivot from what you were going to do to where you are now as a licensed social worker.
so the pivot. And you were around for college.
I
You
remember when you told us that you were gonna you wanted to be a licensed social worker.
yes.
Yeah.
So I started out at Marquette in the Doctor of Physical Therapy program. I was supposed to do a 6-year program. First, starting out with just athletic training and physical therapy. And that first year, it had its rocky moments. But I was getting my classes done, getting decent grades, and then I had to take biology, and for whatever reason, this class was the death of me. And so I had a counselor tell me, oh, maybe this isn't the field for you because of this class. And I'm like, I'm doing well in all my classes. How are you going to tell me this isn't the field for me? Like, I just knew I was going to be in physical therapy or some doctor at some point in regards to healthcare. And so after that, that's when my niece passed away. That's when Shantanika passed away. So she was 16 with a medical condition. She was supposed to be getting better. She was coming off medication. And then all of a sudden she got sick. And in a blink of an eye, she was gone. And so that started a chain reaction to what happened the rest of my college years. And I would say grief really pivoted a lot of things for me in life, from my relationships to my path. And at that point, I didn't know, I knew what mental health was, but I didn't understand it to
Mhm.
the depths of 20 years later, what it is now. But I had to go through a lot of grief. I lost my niece, my uncle, both of my godparents, my grandmother figure, all within those
It was
4
back to back.
It was back to back.
Back to back.
To back. I still question how I graduated some days.
It was, yeah.
On top of all the other stressors of being engaged and breaking up, and
It was a lot going on for yeah.
it was a lot. It was a lot. And so I switched my career because I'm like, I want to help people. That's all I know. I want to help people. So I switched to, I think it was social welfare and justice. And
That's
then
what
I
it
did
was.
criminology and law because I'm like, well, maybe I should just be a lawyer. My mama told me I'm always good at arguing. Maybe I just need to be a lawyer.
We had that. Did we have that class together?
Yeah, we had some classes together.
And we used to be like, look at
Yep.
him.
And so yeah, we had a couple classes together, but so I would say my pivot happened after some really heavy moments in my life. And I honestly could not carry the caseload or the course load at Marquette up under any type of health science degree. Because if anybody knows about health science degrees at Marquette, it is intense. It is not a joke. You gotta like streamline it or you're gonna be off course. And so I decided to pivot, and that was okay. And it took me some years to be okay with that, but I decided, okay, I'm going to be in the helping field. Maybe I'll just become a social worker, but I left it open because I didn't know if I wanted to go to law school. And so after I graduated, shortly after, I was like, I need to have trades up under my belt for whatever reason. I was always thinking like in the long run, I want to have options. And so that's how I ended up in massage school. And to kind of give a little snippet of massage school, at first I went to a bartending school to tour. And I was like, I don't know if I should be a bartender. I don't know if that's the life I want to lead into this course of life I'm trying to figure out. And so I just Googled schools in downtown Chicago, like trade schools, and massage popped up. And I went to, it's called the Soma Institute in Chicago. And I walked in. They were glad to give me a tour the same day. And I believe it was the director. She talked to me and I was telling her some of my passions as far as helping people. And she was just like, you need to be here. And I'm like, I feel like I should be here. And I literally signed up that day. And to kind of give a backstory about massage, I have several older family members that had health conditions, and one particularly has rheumatoid arthritis. And in high school, it got to the point where they were bedridden. And I knew this person was very physical. When I say physical, playing basketball, walking 3-4 miles a day, and then to the point of just stopping. Mentally, I made the point, okay, if she's not moving, her muscles need to be moved because her body's not used to being
Right.
And so I naturally had a niche for massaging, and I didn't know, but that was also another reason that kind of pushed me in that direction. And so kind of fast forward, I got my massage degree, got my license, and here come the interruptions.
It's okay. Who is it?
Here.
Who is it?
Here. Nova. Okay, you can take it.
Hi, Wowo.
You hear TT? Wait. Hi. Hi.
Hi, the Titi Mamas.
Hi. So yeah, that pivot outside of massage, I didn't start my master's program until my oldest child was in my womb.
He's 9.
He was born.
What's
And oh yeah, when I started my master's program, he was born.
Okay.
He was born, but it was shortly after I decided to actually go back to school. Okay, go take your sticker and go put it on the table.
Like what would you think that you were your pregnancy encouraged you to do it, or did you just say, regardless of where I am, I'm going to do it?
Let me tell you. So I felt like I was playing around a little bit, and I wasn't sure what I wanted, how I wanted my path to go. Like I had the massage, I had social services up under my belt, but I knew I wanted more. And I had actually started thinking about going back into the health field. I was thinking actually about going into nursing. I don't even know if I told anybody.
I'm like, I don't think I remember that.
No, it was a very strange time. I thought about going into nursing until I realized.
Yeah.
Yep, till I realized, I said, nope, that's going to be a whole nother path. And it's just easier to go get my master's in social work, and I can be a clinical social worker, and I can really open up my doors.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you were dabbling at that time with a lot of different, you were doing a lot of different, like, smaller jobs, because you were doing a night job at the group home.
Yep.
I was trying to think, were you a teacher or were you just working at a daycare?
I worked in Chicago public schools. I did
so it was just like a lot of
recovery program. I was all over the place.
Yeah.
And in the sense that, again, I was helping people, but I didn't know specifically where I wanted to go. And yes, I was working in the group homes, and that really forced me to realize how important mental health was, and just having conversations about your feelings, your emotions. Because I worked in the group home with teenage moms. And so the moms themselves were wards of the state, is what they called them. So they were, so to speak, the state was their guardian, and they had children themselves. And so I had to run groups with them. I had to de-escalate a lot because they was always ready to fight or, have conflicts. And so I worked a lot of different jobs. I was massaging as well. And then I started to realize the importance of connecting the mind and the body, and how impactful it could be to actually focus on those areas. And so, that course of me trying to figure it out, all those things helped. And thankfully, I'm still in touch with some of those group home girls, and I get to see how they are thriving. And it's always that, oh, should you still be in contact with your client? But let me tell you, these girls, they were more than my clients. And they will tell you to this day, there are only a handful of us that truly cared about them like they were our own.
And they can tell.
Oh, yeah. And there have been several that have come to me after the fact and just simply thanked me. And they're like, I know you told me not to find you on Facebook, and when I say they found me years later, like I hadn't worked with them in over 5-6 years. And they still made an effort to find me. And I'm like, okay, what's going on?
And you have people that they say they care, and they may actually do, but I think the thing with you, like, you're literally one of the most genuine people I know, and you care about people. It could be somebody on the side of the road that look like they going through something, and you the one that be like, I need to help them.
And I have been that person, like, and I don't like boasting about what I do, or because I don't do it to boast about it. But like when me and my husband, when me and Julius went to Colorado, when you watch the kids, there is a homeless guy outside, and when I say cold, like it's maybe 20-30 degrees outside.
Because it was January. Wasn't it January?
It was November. Yeah, I think it was November. And he was bare chested, like had no clothes on his chest. Like you could see his whole body was red. And I'm like, what is happening? And I'm like, thankfully I had a double coat on. And anybody from the Midwest know you have layers on. And so I literally took my coat off and gave it to him because I had another coat. And my husband's like, who are you? Like every time he goes somewhere,
it's so true. We joke with her a lot, but if she means what, we would be somewhere, and I'm trying to think where we were, somewhere out of town, and it was something with a kid. Like we were walking down the street, and like I think a kid like fell out of a car or something. Where were we? Were we in New Orleans? We walking down the street talking, chilling. Next thing you know, a door open and the child and we like.
And I'm like,
and we were like, no, keep walking.
And I'm like, because literally they probably saw my wheels spinning in my head, like, Kenisha, this is not the
It'll
time.
Be a normal situation. They see, we like, out of all people, you would be right. We like, nope, keep walking. Let's go. Let's go.
Did you help the kid?
The mama, the mama did what she did. We just kept walking
You
because
know, I
It's New
mentally took
Orleans.
the license plate.
You gotta watch yourself in New Orleans.
that's how we was like, nope, keep going, let's go. We're gonna keep
Yeah, so
walking.
what I did do, I mentally took that person's license plate down and I had a description of her. And I said, if I feel it in my spirit to call later, because the baby clearly wasn't in the car seat. She left the kids in the car by themselves. And I
And
get
so
it.
happens
Ringing
sometimes.
around with kids is tough. I will never negate that. I got three of my own. And to hop in and out, to go running and do something, it is a task.
Yeah, it was
But to
just,
see that baby fall out head first,
we always just say,
yeah, any type of inebriation that was possibly happening was out the window. I'm like,
right,
I'm
it was
so.
gone. Everybody was just sober.
And
Sober.
thankfully the baby was okay, appeared okay, but
It was still just like the shock of like, girl, your baby just fell out the car.
Baby's resilient. They like grass. They'll be all right. They get up.
And then Nola, them curves high. They don't got low curves. They got them high curves.
yeah. And
But
so,
yeah.
but yeah, so I
Definitely
think
been a journey. So
it's been a journey. I've had some pivots.
but it
But
led you
I
to
would say my son gave me a different motivation because I'm like, it takes a lot to take care of a kid. And I don't know. And people have heard, social workers don't make a lot of money. I've heard that since day one.
Not
When
as
I
much as
told
they
my
should.
mom I was going to be a social worker, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to make money? Now, if you talk to her right now, has she asked me that in the last couple of years? No.
My ex-wife is a social worker.
She is?
Yes, and she works for NPS. And if you know, NPS is the highest paid social workers in the state. So I'm like, why don't you just go to another school? She was like, nope.
Like,
the amount of work they have to do, they deserve every dime.
Well, the amount of work, but there's like even in suburban areas, you're not going to get paid as much as you get paid in NPS. It's crazy.
Yeah, being a social worker is not for the faint heart, and depending on the path that you want to take, you can still make a considerable wage compared to what the narrative that people speak out. Now, in the group home settings and certain nonprofit settings, but hopefully that's not where you plan to stay.
Because usually people that are like licensed, like therapists, they have like end goals beyond where they are at that very moment. So like you said, you do have the opportunity to make more. I mean, you can add an S at the end of your credentials and start doing supervision. And then I think people also I've seen so many lists of, people hear social work and they put you in one path. But if you see a list of all the things that you can actually do, having that social worker license, like there are so many opportunities. Now,
you can create opportunities. That's another thing.
Yes, that as well. And that's actually what I was going to ask you next, because like I said on my last show, and I'm pretty sure I said it before, my mental health background is more along the lines of like administrative and operational. And what I know is that with a lot of clinicians, they want to have their own private practice. So with you being licensed for a little over 2 years, you've already succeeded in quitting your 9 to 5.
Yep.
But you went back and forth about so long, and then you finally just pulled the trigger. And now you have your own practice, and you've done that a little over 2 years. And I've seen people in practice for years and years that haven't even gotten to that point yet. So like, how does it feel? Like, I mean, having your own practice, like it's yours.
Sometimes I'm pinching myself because I'm like, am I really doing this? Like, and then, all that imposter syndrome started to try to creep in. And thankfully I haven't felt that in the last 6 months, but it's real. Like, you question, are you doing things right? Are you serving people the way they should be served? Do you have enough training? That's always the question. Like, do you have enough training or experience? And I know I got a plethora of experience from family, friends, all the dynamics.
You a whole
and so it feels a little surreal sometimes, but I know, and I have bigger dreams, and this is not my end goal, and this is just like literally the tip of the iceberg of what I really want to do. And it's kind of crazy because I'm turning the wheels to get that started. And ultimately, I know where my path leads me. And it makes me just more secure in knowing that everything I've done over the years has literally been a stepping stone to where this is about to go. And just
Our
to get,
end goal is on a farm somewhere in the middle
yeah,
of
I
nowhere.
have a ranch.
All of our houses on one compound with our gardens. And I used to be the friend like, no, I'm living in the city. Now I'm like, girl, where this countryside? Come on.
But
They don't want
and
me over.
to
Let's go.
expand on that, and I want my community to be self-sustainable, yes. But of course, I want it to be focused on the whole self of well-being and not just mental health, but physical health,
Hmm.
spiritual health, financial health, like all of the things that it takes for us to be a part of society and to be functional, healthy human beings. I want it in one space. And so, what does that ranch look like? Equestrian therapy, gardens, fresh food kitchens, with trained chefs that know different palates for different issues and
Yeah.
health concerns. There are several people that I follow. I'm like, I need them on my land because
Yeah.
they have the tools and the knowledge. So I know this is much bigger than me.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, when I say I want to help people, I see it on such a larger scale. And I'm grateful to have all these individual experiences. But creating your own reality as a clinical social worker is a real thing.
Yeah,
And
it is.
I see the vision of being able to have children, adults, elderly in one place, making sure that they have the tools that they need for
Hmm.
their toolbox to be well, whether it's yoga, acupuncture, psychiatry, psychologists, therapists, spiritual leaders, whatever that looks like for your path. Or
Yeah.
yeah, I have big
And just
dreams.
think about that, like what you just said. I was thinking about this earlier because I was listening to one of my other podcasts, and they were talking about how kind of what you said in the beginning. You know, 20 years down the line, mental health is completely different than what it was, like, say, back in 2005. We weren't hearing anything about mental health or you need to go to the therapy. The
Yeah,
language around it was so different. It was like if you had somebody in your family that we know now, was having mental health issues, they were kind of tucked away. You didn't talk about it.
yeah,
If you were working through issues, it was, oh, just pray about it. You'll be okay. And I think about, like, for myself in my own journey, like, what if
mhm.
I had a therapist back then, or I had the toolbox, like you said? My journey would have been completely different
Exactly.
than it
All
is
of our
now.
journeys.
Completely different if my
Yeah,
toolbox had the tools in it that I needed.
yeah,
And I think the good thing about it now, as far as, us being in the place that we are now, it
mhm.
has had a positive effect on our children.
Yes.
So when our children go out into the world, they have their toolbox. Whereas when we went, we didn't necessarily have that. So I
Mm-mm.
think that's definitely the part that it makes me happy because, you know, Dylan will be 18 soon. So it's
Mhm.
like sending him out into the world. I know that he has the toolbox that he
Yep.
needs. And
And you've been using
and
it
he
too.
laughs about it a lot. 'Cause, when he goes through situations, he'll talk to me and I'm like, oh, talk to Kenisha. And he'll be like, oh, she's going to send me a chart and pictures. And then she's going to talk to me about my feelings. But I'm like, but at the end of the day, that it helps him. And it
Hmm.
gives him
Yeah.
something that he can refer back to. And that's a blessing because we didn't grow up having that.
Not at all.
We have to
Nobody
pray
talks
about
about
it. And
feelings.
no, I didn't talk. I talked to my friends about my feelings,
Hmm.
but other grown-ups, the older people in the family, no, that was unheard of. You don't do that.
Yeah. What do you have feelings about? You fine, I take
Why?
care of you, or you fed, you got clothes on your back. What do
Like,
you
what
have to
issue?
complain about? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
And, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
so we talked about this a little bit last week because you had sent me a video. We talk about burnout a lot. We talk about
Yeah.
self-care a lot. I feel like you are always on me, probably literally like no more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Self-care. Did you
Yeah.
sleep? What did you do? Are you drinking your water? Where do you? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, yes, yes. But that's what I need though, because self-care is important, especially when you're going through certain things in life. You know, me, I'll let it fall to the wayside until it gets too bad, and then now we're too late when I have the opportunity to kind of get ahead of it. So you are licensed clinical social worker, licensed massage therapist, a wife, a mother of 3, 9, 3, and 2.
Yep.
And then you done went and got a damn dog, Memphis.
That's our baby.
And he really thinks that he is one of the toddlers. Like,
he ran in here with the toddlers, like, oh,
right. Friend, daughter, you literally do it all. Yeah. And like I said, there's never a time of day or night, like if I need you, that you're not available. Yeah. And we tell you all the time, I don't think you like do enough for yourself. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to you playing all of these roles, what do you do for self-care, and what do you do to prevent yourself from being burnt out? Because therapists get burnt out. They carry a lot.
It's a real
daily basis.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is paying attention to my body. And so knowing how to respond when my body is responding a certain way. And I've had to learn the hard way. You know, I've had to crash and burn a couple of times to be like, oh, wait, I need to take care of myself. And specifically over the last, 2 years of me figuring out my own health after having these babies, you know, our body changes. And so
I forgot to say that you had 2 babies during the pandemic.
Woo. Yeah, 2 babies back to back, 9 months apart, 4 days, and they're supposed to be 10 and a half. I promise. We waited 6 weeks. I promise we did.
Woo!
These are crazy.
And then
I was like,
my youngest came 7 weeks early. But in the midst of that, my body went through a lot in a short time period. And after that, I started having gallbladder issues, and I actually had them after braiding, but I didn't understand what I understand now about my body and paying attention to when I feel aches and pains. Because growing up, my mama, she pushed through. If she was hurting, I got to go do it. Yeah. And so I've had this mentality of, you know, I may feel something, but I'm okay. I can push through.
I'm still like that, honestly.
Until one day I couldn't. Until one day I was like, oh crap, I'm in pain and I can't push through. And at that moment I realized something's not right. Yeah. So I would say between the pandemic, my own, you know, therapeutic journey of understanding how to slow down. I didn't know how to slow down. And I thank my kids for this because
always on the move. Always on the move. On the
move. I've always said,
like, tell these people. Dylan can be like, "Hey, so I want to go jump out of the plane tomorrow," and she'll be like, "Okay."
Yep, and I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay, I'm like, tell him no. You need to rest.
Okay, wait, hold on, Miss Therapist Kenisha, ma'am. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So pushing through pain and pushing through discomfort and what?
Yeah.
As a therapist, is that a healthy way of coping?
No. And I had to learn the hard way.
Okay, I'm just making sure that you're not preaching. You're preaching what you teach. See?
She's trying. Yes.
Push through. I know people who try to, like, they say they have a high threshold for pain. Are taking like the pain, like not showing emotion. They might, but internally are killing themselves because they're not releasing it.
Yes, and that is something that has allowed me to realize how important it is to have balance and to really just stop sometimes. Like, you have to stop, or your body's going to make you stop.
Eventually, at some point, that's very true.
You're going back
to school. Your body is going to slow you down, and so paying attention to your body. And this is crazy because I've always paid attention. Okay.
She was answering for you. I said, "Are you going back to school?"
No. Hi.
Am I going back to school? You
don't sound like a person who's finished.
Oh, huh?
You don't sound like a person who's finished.
Oh no, I'm never finished. My husband actually had to put me on a hiatus from school because I
Oh
was
yeah,
like, oh,
because what were you trying to do? And he said, I forgot what that was.
I want to get my PhD. I still want to get my PhD. And so,
He
because
said,
I,
He's working on his.
sit your ass down.
yeah,
He's
but
working on
you know what?
his.
Y'all
After,
both can't be y'all both can't be working on no doctorate. So y'all gotta take your time.
no, but it is a process in knowing one. Hey. Okay, thank you. Can you go to the next room? Here, take Memphis and show Memphis. Put Memphis on
He
the.
right there.
Yeah, take Memphis and put him on dressed up.
And that's so funny to me because she used to then mess with him like that.
Yeah,
She would be like, dog. Mm-mm.
go with the girls. Out. Yep, out with.
I think she froze.
Oh, we doing so well.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. I was like, I think he froze.
Okay. So yeah. So listening to my body.
Yeah.
I've always listened to my body because as a
Mhm.
massage therapist, in order to give massages, you
Yeah.
really have to be in tune. And so I've learned over the years that I was practicing self-care in the midst of most of the things I was doing, but I wasn't stopping to really reflect and take care of
Yeah.
myself. And so, like deep breaths, I've been doing deep breaths since I was probably a kid myself.
Yeah,
I
you
was,
real big on that. Like, take a breath. Let's breathe.
yep,
Yeah.
just breathe and get in touch with your lungs,
Mhm.
get in touch with your chest, your body.
Yeah.
But I would say having to just slow down after I had ended up in the hospital one too many times.
Yeah.
But it was because, and fast forward, I got diagnosed with celiac disease.
Mhm.
And learning my body and what I can eat, not eat, but also realizing the stress that my body is enduring. Your stress hurts your body.
It's not good for you. It affects so many aspects of your like, even on like my like personal like weight loss journey right now. I'm really learning just how much stress affects you. Like when you
Yeah,
get stressed, your cortisol levels go up, and this I'm learning about all these levels and hormones and all. It stress really affects your
yeah.
body. Like
So if this
man,
up here is not okay, the rest of you
yeah.
is
Hmm.
going to suffer in different ways. And some people are like, I don't know why I feel this way, or I don't know what's going on. Slow down.
Yeah.
You got to slow down and actually evaluate your body and your mind, your thoughts. Thoughts are, people underestimate how thoughts can take you to another level.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about how you think, but the thoughts that pop in your mind and you not having some autonomy to say, okay, it's a thought. I don't have to listen to it,
Yeah.
but I can think for myself and do for myself. That's a whole other level of growth that one I had to figure out, and I figured out over time. But even now, listening to my body, paying attention to my thoughts, but being intentional about my thinking to say, no, I have a different choice.
Yeah.
I don't feel tired. Maybe I do need to sit down, or do I need some water? Am I dehydrated? Do I need to nourish my body?
Yeah, it's really such a it really is a process, and it really is important to be in tune with your body. And I don't think I realized how important that was really until I would say recently, like even within the last year, like just being able to rest after you go so long without having proper rest, like you can feel that like all it's in your body, you can feel it in your life. It's just
Yeah,
not the way that you should live.
yeah.
So it's like with me, and it was funny because I felt like I kind of had backtracked, I would say, over the last week. Cause even last night, I got off work, and I was tired. And so I was kind of just sitting on the couch watching TV, and I was like, no, why am I just doing nothing? Like you need to be folding
Mm-hmm.
laundry, or you need to be doing this, or figuring out this and that. And it was like my mind was just like, no, you don't rest. You don't rest. And I hadn't felt like that since back
Mm-hmm.
when I was going through everything I was going through last year, where I literally wasn't resting because I was always boom, boom, boom. And so I
Yeah.
kind of had to switch out of that and be like, you worked today, a full shift.
Mm-hmm.
You took care of your kid.
Yeah.
You went to the store. you had a hell of a week last week. It's
Yeah.
okay for you to sit here and do nothing right now, and you're fine. Like, I literally had to like walk myself through that process. And I had talked about this on my last episode, but even recently, within the last, I would say 6 months, I recognized finally like how anxiety shows up in my body.
Mm.
Always known that I was like an anxious person because I think I'm pretty sure I told you, but like around the time you had Dylan for the holidays, I remember I
Mhm.
was telling you like all of a sudden I was not feeling well. It was like
Yeah.
I couldn't eat. I just was feeling nauseous, in and
Yeah.
out of the bathroom. I literally felt like something was wrong. And you
Yeah.
were even saying with Dylan, like something was kind of going on, like maybe he was
Yeah.
feeling anxious or he had something going on. And I realized like it's my anxiety. Like I was looking up and doing research and it was like, oh, stomach, this, that. And then start doing breathing exercises and all of a sudden it started calming down. And then
Yeah.
he ended up coming home and I felt normal. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, like maybe I had anxiety because he wasn't here, although I never have anxiety when he goes there, but maybe it's because he had to he travels further now,
Yeah.
whereas before he didn't have to travel that far. So maybe that's what it was. And I just was like, nah, that's not it. Like that's not it.
Yeah.
That's why it's important for you to be in tune with your body and really listen to it
Yeah.
because it's trying to tell you something and you don't want to wait till the last minute and then everything has exploded and then you had missed your opportunity to kind of get ahead of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so the population that you work with, you are able to see adults and you can see children as well, correct?
Yes.
So,
Yep, from 4 to I guess somebody that's in their 90s. So
so one thing that I've known in mental health is finding proper treatment for adolescents is extremely difficult. When
yes,
you at institutions across the country, there are wait lists so long, especially for like inpatient programs,
yeah.
outpatient programs. The wait lists are so long for adolescents because the need extends beyond
Mm-hmm.
the amount of help, right? But then you also have therapists who, I mean, they make the choice to not see adolescents. I mean, everybody has the choice, and
Right.
we know that treating adolescents it's not easy. It's very
Yeah.
difficult. You're dealing
Yeah.
with the adolescent, you're dealing with their families, but with you and your journey, you've never turned away from adolescence. If anything, you kind of ran towards it.
Yeah.
So for you, what is it about adolescents that kind of keep you like moving forward and treating them and like even going deeper, like you said, with the girls from the group home?
So the biggest thing is kind of what we talked about earlier, the fact that we didn't even have these tools at that
Yeah.
age. And I always sit back and I'm at like pure amazement when I can see an individual go through therapy, come into therapy, not having a clue as to who they are as an
Mhm.
individual, their identity, their values, where they see themselves, or how they see themselves, and then over time, we're building their toolbox. And I've had adolescents come to me, not even for maybe 2, 3 months, and they're like, "You gave me the tools, and I'm using them, and it works. Like, this is weird."
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Just keep your toolbox because you're gonna wake up one day and life gonna hit you a different way,
Mhm.
and you got to know what you're going to do to
Yeah.
respond because you're going to get angry, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to have things that happen in life that are sometimes completely out of your control, but making sure that you know what works for you. And I tell people all the time, what works for you at 16 is not probably going to work for you at 26 or
Right.
36, 46, whatever the age is. And so it's okay to come to therapy and figure out what your toolbox looks like right now. But why do I run the adolescents? Because they're needed.
Yeah.
And it's a toss up right now. Some people feel like, oh, it's too much therapy happening. But I think what's happening is social media is putting a lot of information out there.
Ooh, that's our next topic. Don't let me forget. That's a
Yeah,
good segue.
it's a lot of information out there, and people don't know how to actually take the information and
Mhm.
figure it out for themselves to one, investigate. I always tell people, don't believe anything you hear. Like, even when it comes from me, is it evidence based? Is it, where am I getting this information?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's one piece. I do it because I don't want them to be miseducated.
Yeah.
Because there's one piece where I'm so happy social media is highlighting mental health, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also putting a whole other spin on it where people are not really understanding the depths of what one little post can do to someone's mind.
Yep. Yep. So let's segue into that. So Tommy, can you do me a favor?
Mhm.
Can you put up those
Mhm.
I think it's the last 4 slides. So I actually went on to your
Mhm.
Instagram and I pulled up one of your most recent posts, and it conveniently says mental health. What is it? So let's dive into what, when you hear mental health, the term, what is it? So let's go to the
Right.
next slide.
Yes.
So it says mental health is comprised of our emotional, psychological, and social well being.
Yep.
Slide. Mental health, what does it affect? It affects what we think, how we feel mentally, emotionally, and physically, and our actions.
Yes.
Then it determines how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices.
Mhm.
And that's it. Oh, that's it. That's the last one. And her Instagram is at KCH_therapeutic services. If you want to go onto her Instagram, she always posts different like mental health facts, tips, tricks, tools. And she posts like different videos as well. So you can definitely follow her, and I'll make sure I leave her information in the description box. You can take it down. But that this is what mental health, the term, means. Now, when you talk about social media, I know we've had this conversation a few months ago. It's, I think the term is called pop psychology, right? And so, I've seen, especially on Twitter, where therapists are talking about how social media is affecting like their practice, because you have this information being spewed out on social media, and then people are bringing it into their sessions, and therapists are having to like sort through this and kind of like redefine.
Mhm.
So you hear these buzzwords like narcissist and
Right.
gaslighting, and the one that I had to correct myself on recently, trauma bonding.
Yeah.
So, people always use trauma bonding in the wrong context.
Yes.
It's defined in a way that's actually not true. And I fell into the trope because the way it was being defined, I just knew that that's what it
That's
was.
what it
Yeah.
was.
Since you're a licensed clinical social worker, can
Yes.
you define, give us a short version? What is the definition of trauma bonding?
So trauma bonding is when there is an attachment, an individual becomes attached to the person that has caused trauma to them. And so you see this in a lot of domestic violence situations,
Hmm.
or it can happen with parent child dynamics too.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I think the term trauma bonding, it sounds like, oh, we're bonding over our trauma.
Yeah. We
Like
were both abused. Like we can relate. It's
we
like,
can, mm-mm.
in a way, I guess you have similar trauma and you're talking about it, and you might be bonding with each other
Yes.
because it's the same thing, but it's not a trauma bond. That's not the definition of it.
Exactly. That what we call that is probably more support, or like a support
Yeah.
group
Hmm.
type style where we're sitting and we're talking about our traumas and we're having some type of bonding moment because we have similar experiences. That is not trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Trauma bonding is an actual clinical term that explains how there's a cycle that happens within abuse,
Mhm.
and how that cycle actually filters into why most times people have a hard time leaving an abusive person, whether it's
Hmm.
a spouse, parent, work environment
And not
sometimes.
just, I was gonna say, not just physical abuse. It could be emotional, verbal, mental.
Definitely,
Hmm.
yes. Most times it's more psychological, mental,
Hmm.
financial.
Yep.
Some people think automatically it's physical, and no, that is sometimes there's more mental, like
Hmm.
psychological abuse happening, financial,
Yeah.
Sexual.
sometimes spiritual,
Yeah. Sexual. Yeah. That's true.
sexual,
Yeah.
and if there are so many dynamics to abuse. Like even when it comes into, I believe in God, but religion can
Yeah.
have some
Oh,
dynamics of that.
you see all types of documentaries and all types of stuff about that. Oh man.
And so
Yes.
it can literally happen in any facet. It does not, there's no community or relationship that is that cannot be touched when it comes to bonding
Mhm.
with the person that is inflicting that abuse on you. And
Yeah.
so, and I try to be careful of using the word victim,
Mhm.
because I don't see people as victims. You know, there are some victimizing situations, but no, I see people as people, even
Yeah.
the abuser. The abuser, my husband say I'm an advocate for everybody. And I'm like, no, I'm not an advocate for everybody, but I understand
Yeah.
that everybody comes with their own story. Does it make it okay that they're inflicting pain on other people? Hell
Mhm.
no. No, I would never condone abuse.
Yeah.
But there may be some underlying issues that got them to the point of making those decisions.
Yeah.
And
Which a
so,
lot of times there are. And I feel
yeah,
like I've seen it over and over again that there are underlying issues. There's stuff going
yeah,
on in the past. And again, that kind of goes back to what we said before. They most likely didn't have that toolbox. And these things
exactly.
were going on for since they were children, most likely, and then it kind of
Yeah.
just developed. Now they're an adult, and these issues have kind of just exploded. I had showed one of your graphics on my show when I did it last time, and I think it was talking about the onset of mental health symptoms. I think the average age was like 14,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it talked about only 50% of people. I can't remember exactly what it was, but
Actually, get diagnosed or understand that they have a condition, but
Mhm,
you know, this is the thing. Even when people know they have something,
mhm,
like bipolar one,
mhm,
that's a difficult one to deal with because most times people
mhm.
don't want to accept that something is not okay.
Yeah.
And that's one of the toughest ones outside of the heavier ones where there may be um, schizophrenia
Mhm.
or some of the darker ones. But I will say that at the end of the day, mental health has had such a huge taboo on society to the point where it went from we don't talk about it to now it's like buzzwords.
Yeah.
And people are talking about it so much, but they don't have the actual education and the tools to
And they're
understand.
not researching further to read to understand. It's like you see it on social media and all of a sudden it becomes facts. And it's like, well, you kind of got to dig a little deeper into that. I don't know. I feel like I'm in like my nerd phase right now because I've really been like researching things that I had never researched before and learning a lot and reading stuff on
Yeah,
the internet as far as like researching different articles and books and all types of stuff. And it really is a world of information out there. And if you want to understand and learn about something, there are the tools out
yeah,
there at your disposal. Like, and I'm not talking about social media. I'm
right,
talking about like off of social media. Like the tools are there. You just have to utilize them.
exactly.
So when it comes to the term mental health, I think, in my opinion, the two populations that we talked about adolescents, but I also wanted to kind of tap into like men and mental health
Hmm.
because I know that we hear about how do I word it? So when I feel like not all the time, but you can ask a man about like his mental health and a lot of times they don't like to open up and really talk about it, number one, and number two, they feel a way about therapy.
Yeah,
It's either because they don't like how the therapist looks, they feel like the therapist can't relate,
mhm,
and so a lot of times they don't go to therapy when they actually should be going to therapy.
yeah,
So with you, like say for instance, let's use an example of like the men in your life, say like a
mhm.
husband or even godson, whoever. um how do you handle like their mental health with you being a therapist and knowing kind of like the taboo in the culture like around men going to
Yeah.
therapy and just talking to someone outside of like their family or like friend group?
So at the end of the day, I bring the topic up and it's funny you say that because most of the men that are around me now, I have one that's starting a whole clothing line for mental health.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's one of the biggest things is you good, like asking, are you
Good.
good? And
Yeah, I
like,
love that.
yeah, and so I think just simply having regular old conversations about it, but making it comfortable in the sense of there's no judgment. And this is the thing. If you ever go to therapy and you feel judged, you probably got the wrong therapist.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, some people have gone to therapy, they've gone to 1 or 2 sessions and they got turned all the way off.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell people it's just like going to get your hair done or going to get your nails done or having your PCP. You got to vet people out. And if they don't work, that's okay. Please shop around. And I tell my clients all the time when we have our consult, I tell them if we don't work out, please no, I won't be offended. If anything, I want you to get on the path that works for you. And I think a lot of times people have certain experiences or have heard some things and it changes their dynamic. So the way I handle it, I just keep it as casual as possible, but I let them know, this is what I do. And if you ever need to talk, this is what happens. And just simply educating and creating a space. But thankfully, I have a husband that is completely open to it. And he has.
Yeah. I thought he wouldn't be. I don't know.
No. Oh, yeah. He wants to start his own group. And
really?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but now if this was like
it's been a journey. It's been a
journey. We didn't get here overnight. And I tell people that all the time, like where we were, what we've been through, and where we are now. If you were to see the timeline, it took a lot of work. It took a lot of patience.
Growth. That's growth.
Yeah, and that's
growth
what
change.
Yes, and so I will say I'm very grateful to at least have introduced some of the things that we've talked about, and it's wonderful to see that it's transitioning and trickling into his friendships to the point where they want to have a group, and it's trickling into their families. And so I think just simply having positive conversations about what mental health is, because some people just think like, oh, you got to be so-called crazy, or whatever terms that people have put against mental health services. I'm like, no, everybody needs mental health at some point. Unless you are a person that is able to truly understand your triggers, if you have any, understand your body and what it does, what it doesn't do. Everybody needs some mental health.
But even if you do understand those, it's okay for maintenance.
Exactly. And what does maintenance look like? Some people are like, well, what do I come to talk about if I don't have issues? And I'm like, well, your day to day. What do your routines look like?
Yeah.
What does your health look like right now? What are your goals for yourself? Because we should always have some goal to work towards, because one part of well-being is having things to look forward to.
Yeah.
If you don't have much to look forward to, that's when depression and anxiety really tries to take over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely true. Tommy, I have a question. As a man in the room, how do you feel about therapy?
I don't know if you noticed that that's a topic on the Grown Ass Man Experience that we're actually diving into a series regarding, and it's Black men versus therapy, and how we started last night or tonight's episode talking about the first step was as us admitting that we had troubles.
Yeah.
Admitting to each other that we had gone through some stages.
I didn't get that far.
Yeah, you started to show while that was going on, but go back to listen to it. At the end, we actually share moments where we were struggling, and it got so deep. And I was like, all right, we got to go into a whole nother episode of this to actually talk about, all right, now what?
Yeah.
What do we do with that? And we hadn't even gotten to the therapy part. We talked about how we try to cope within ourselves and within our circle, and that was priority. That what came out with that was priority.
Was that the first time you all kind of had that moment together?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we're missing two people that actually could have talked about it. So that's why we wanted to talk about it. Because we all kind of shared in some trauma. Like S. shared how the hardest time in his life was moving to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then moving to Charlotte, and our friend passed away while he was in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And him not being back. And then how they hadn't.
So as a friend group, they had a real big loss. Like a huge loss.
And then I talked about my loss and how I had a breakup and I had lost my job. I mean, we were talking about that, and then I talked to Corinne. I was like, I had to apologize. I was like, I was at the funeral with my ex-wife was there and my girls were there, but he was there by himself. And I'm like, you dealt with that alone, like that. I mean, I didn't even recognize that until right now. Like you were there, I had my support. He was just there by himself, just kind of. And even then, he even tried.
I mean, by himself because he's single, no kids.
Yeah,
right?
single, no kids. All we had were our peer group that was there, but emotionally there by himself.
Having to go through that by
Right.
Even then, he therapized himself. No, I wasn't by myself. I had people there. I'm like, nigga, I mean, you gotta talk to your man. Nigga, stop. Like, we gotta stop. Like, we're talking about getting therapy, and you still trying to therapize yourself. Of vulnerability. And I talked to him about it too. I said, we want to be a little bit more vulnerable during this episode.
How did that feel for you?
It felt fine for me. I'm curious to know what we get to the therapy side, what that conversation is going to be. That we haven't gotten that far yet, but the fact that we're open to talk about it is really telling.
Nice. Okay. Was that you, Daniel?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they busting in.
That was dope. I need to finish listening. I like that you all were able to like have that moment together, like as a friend group. I think that was important for you all, especially after a loss that heavy.
Yeah. How much we talked about how we felt.
How you felt in that moment.
Yes.
Especially with you, because I feel like everything happened like back to back.
And that was more so like, they were like, yeah, I didn't know that.
Because when you're in the moment, going through it, a lot of times you don't notice it until you step back and you like, oh wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna allow you to listen to it because that did come out too. Like you don't realize until you look back.
Wow, nice.
I didn't answer any of your question, but that was just more so that was
no. I know that's good because I think that kind of lines up with what she said as far as with her husband and his friend group, and it's kind of trickling down. I think that on the outside, you oftentimes hear about like, oh, he needs to go to therapy. He needs to go talk to the lady. He needs to go do this and that. But I feel like as women all the time, you don't get a chance to know what actually goes on like in the background. So I think that was major with you all having that conversation out kind of in the open for other people to be able to hear. So, and I think it shows that balance because it's not all kiki laughing, joking all the time. It's like, okay, we can be serious too.
And the irony of that is that's part of the therapy, the kiki to laugh and
of course,
and it gets harsh and it gets cruel and we're laughing about it, but apparently that helps us. I guess.
But you love each other.
It's yeah, sometimes.
So my last question for you, because I'm gonna let you wrap it up because I know you guys to get ready to it's bedtime. What was I gonna say? Boundaries. So I know a lot of time. Okay, so you're a therapist, and again, you play all of these different roles, and so I know for therapists, sometimes it's hard to not cross the line of I'm not at work, I'm not a therapist right now. I'm me as an individual. Now I know with you, it's a big different because you will voluntarily do that, and on the other end, we like no, we'll need that. So it's a lot of times we have to be okay. I just need my friend right now.
Yeah.
So like take that hat off and put your friend hat on. And it's hard. You'll reach for it, but you're like,
and I'm learning to be like, which side do you want me? Because I don't know. You telling me stuff, but I need to know how you want me to respond.
And we have to be like clear about that. Like, okay, are you venting because you need your friend? Are you venting because you want me to? And I think you getting better in regards to like, I feel like I'm talking to my friend, but I also feel like, yes, she does have this knowledge, so she gonna sprinkle it in here, and it's not like overwhelming because this is what she does, and so why not let her do what she does? You know that the intention is there. So do you feel like? I think you've gotten better with that, but do you feel like you've gotten better as far as those boundaries and knowing kind of when to cut it off, when to cut it on?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I've had to learn to not look at my work part of my phone to just say, you know what? No, I don't have to do that. At this time, I'm done. Yeah. Unless it's like something regarding an appointment the next day that I might see. Okay. But even with family and, friends, I have found a good balance where I'm like, I'm going to show up however I can. I'll let you know what I can show up for. And, hopefully that's accepting for you. But at the end of the day, we know boundaries are there to protect us and to make sure that we have some balance, and also we are considering ourselves. And so, being an empath, I've had to learn that so
Mhm.
hard because I give and give and give, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I have to know, one, do I need to give anything? That's sometimes my first question to my head. Okay, what is my role in this, and how do I
Yeah,
navigate
because
this?
you're real quick to be like, what you need? What do I need to do? Yeah.
And at that point, if I know where I'm at, okay, I can let you know where I'm at and let you know if that's how I can show up.
Yeah.
But boundaries, it's not something that's big in most communities. It's
No.
something that people are learning. And I see
Which is crazy.
many backgrounds from, I have Pakistani Muslims, and then I have, on the other spectrum, I have, people like us that come from our communities that, Black folks don't know what boundaries are.
Listen.
Yeah, especially in the family dynamic. People get offended, like, what you mean you're not going, what?
That's a whole nother that's a
A
whole
whole other thing. And so, but one thing I have noticed that this is across the board with most communities, and I think people haven't over time learned what it's okay to do what works for you, but have balance to still be supportive of other people,
Mhm.
people that are in your life.
Yep.
And talk about the pop psychology culture. Like, I see it all the time now, and I'm like, why does this keep popping up? Like, so to speak, if it doesn't serve me, I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes things come to you that don't serve you because there's a lesson in it for yourself.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes people are not ready for that. And it's okay to say, I'm not ready to hear this lesson.
Oh
But
yeah,
don't say it
absolutely.
won't serve you.
Yeah.
I could have said, oh, my niece passing away don't serve me, but no. It
Yeah.
literally shifted my whole life.
Mhm.
I could have said the exes that I was with didn't serve me to a certain point. I didn't need them, but I did need them because I needed to realize this is not what I need in my life. And I
Yeah.
need to set a boundary, and I need to know this is not okay. And it's okay for me to say, no, it's not okay.
And sometimes you really got to go through some things to realize, like, okay, I went through it because of this. And I feel like that it's so much growth and like maturity and being looking back and being like, okay, yep, I went through these things. This is why I went
Yeah.
through them.
Yeah.
And I learned this lesson. And now I know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah. And if we so to speak set certain boundaries of just cutting things off,
Yeah.
that's not a actual boundary. Boundaries is you being able to communicate, this is what I need, this is what I want, and this is how I'm going to move forward. There's a communication piece,
Yeah.
there's a consideration piece, because okay, just because it's a boundary for you, understanding how is it also affecting that dynamic of that relationship.
Yeah. That's very true. And I feel like what's crazy to me is, I mean, I pretty much lived the majority of my life not having the boundaries that I should have had. Like the
Mm-hmm.
boundaries that I have now on this day, ask me if I had those boundaries literally like a year ago, or maybe a little over a year. I didn't at
Yeah.
all. And it took me going to therapy and him asking certain questions. Oh, do you have deal breakers? No. What do you do with this? No. What do you do with that? No. Oh, okay. So you lack boundaries. And in my mind, I'm like, square up.
Yeah.
But I really had to look at it and be like, "Oh my god, I don't have boundaries. I don't say no as much as I need to. I let people kind of do whatever they want to do, and I take them back. And it's a harsh reality. But once you realize that and you start implementing those boundaries, you realize just how healing it is
Yes.
and just how necessary it is. And then you wonder how you live life for as long as you did without having those boundaries. What was I
Yeah.
doing before I had this?
Oh,
And it feels
to some
foreign.
extent, sometimes we are self-destructing, or
Yeah,
you
very much
know,
so.
and that's the thing, being aware that, and I honestly feel like that's what most therapy is learning to be aware
Hmm.
of who you are and
Yeah,
being aware of your values, being aware of where you're at in life
yeah.
during transitions, because we know life is going to throw some stuff at us that's going to change us forever. It just is.
It's just yeah. You can't avoid it.
And we have to figure out what that looks like for ourselves in that capacity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing I want people to really understand is going to therapy should be one completely serving to you and your community, your family, because at the end of the day, that self work that you're going to do, you're going to bless somebody else with it. And I have people tell me all the time, I never thought I would be promoting therapy the way I do now. Like I have some Latino clients, I have some clients that,
Yeah.
just never, nobody in their family has ever been to therapy. And they're like, this is my first time. I'm the first one in my family that's trying this. And I don't know where this is going to go. Couple months later, they like, I'm telling everybody. Like, I'm telling my sister, I'm telling my auntie, I'm telling my mama. Like, I want us all to come. Can we do
And
it?
I feel like that had been me. Like once I started my therapy journey, especially nobody in my family was talking about therapy or going to therapy. And I'm like, y'all probably get on my nerves, but I'm like, therapy, we do family therapy, do couples therapy, do this, do that. It's like you might get sick of it, but it's something that actually works. It's like just try it.
It's just like going
And
to
it's
the
not
doctor.
and it's not easy. Nobody is saying it is not easy
No.
sitting there and recognizing these things about yourself that it's not easy at all. But it's rewarding in the long run. And to me, it's worth it. And that's why I'll always be an advocate to at least try it. Now, even with your children, like my child has been in therapy before. When we got to a period of time where I felt like he needed it, he went and worked out for him. And if I feel like he needs it again, like, of course, I'm going to get him what he needs. Like, it's okay for, children to be, going to therapy. It's like, why not? Yeah. Why not?
And a lot of times people are like, well, what do you do in kids therapy? One, I'm putting some names to their emotions. Because one thing, most families, even when they bring their kids to therapy, they don't even know for themselves how to name their emotions and how to one, articulate what's going on with them. So that way they can figure out, okay, what do I need to do next?
Yeah.
In order to manage these emotions.
Even with your own children, I know I'm sure being a therapist has really changed your parenting, and I've seen it. I mean, your kids have feelings, emotion, toys, and charts, and they're able to identify, I feel sad, I feel angry. Like they are able to identify how they feel in that moment. And I mean, unfortunately, a lot of their peers might not be able to do that. So I would say one good thing about you being a licensed therapist is that I would say it changed your parenting in a positive way because it allowed you to be able to look at a lot of things completely differently than you might have looked at them before, especially having small kids.
Oh, yeah. And I know the gentle parenting, that thing gets a bad rap. That's a whole other another pop psychology culture.
You are definitely a gentle. You are honest. You are so gentle and so patient and calm. I had off. I think I only heard you yell maybe one time, and I didn't even know it was you. I thought it was somebody else.
Oh yeah. When Dylan heard me yell, I think that was the first time Dylan heard me yell, and he was like, "Oh crap!" She's yelling.
Like, oh, who all over there? He was like, that was Kenisha. I was like, wait, what? I said, are you okay? Are you okay?
But it's real. But I will say, compared to how my parents, mostly my mother and my grandmother raised me, and the sprinkle of my daddy in my childhood of what his parenting was or lack thereof. Oh yeah. And me and Joyce talk about this all the time. Like how we're raising our kids completely different.
Yep. I talked about that last show. It's not saying that everything our parents did was wrong.
No, not at all.
They could with what they had and what they knew, but we have this opportunity to be able to show up differently for our children, and our children are reflecting a reflection of the type of parenting that we're doing.
Exactly. And thankfully, even with grandparents setting certain boundaries, it has shifted in their understanding the dynamics of how you operate with my child, because how you treated me,
and
how you treat my child we have to have a conversation about that.
Yeah, and that could be different. Well, we've been there before, but I have a child that is very clear on setting boundaries. He will, and he's very vocal. So,
Yeah,
it's not like it's a me thing. It's like no, it's a him thing. He can
yeah,
express himself. He can set his own boundaries. If he don't like if you're doing something he don't like, he's gonna talk to you about that. He's not gonna be disrespectful, but he's gonna let you know. And
exactly. He has a right to let you know how he is feeling.
yeah,
That is his feelings.
hmm
And now we could talk about your
Mhm.
feeling versus reality, because sometimes that's a mix, especially
Yeah,
with kids. Sometimes
for sure.
how they feel. Oh, mommy, you told me no, so I feel like you telling me no to the rest of the world. No,
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable.
And
Yeah,
as a
and
parent, it does feel different. It does feel because I'm raising a very expressive child who he will tell you how he feels, even if it's me. And it's something
mm-hmm.
that he don't particularly care for. It's not always easy to hear, but it
Yeah,
needs to happen. I mean,
yeah,
it's been. I mean, I remember years ago, Dylan was like, why you yell? Like, like, why are you yelling? Like, just and it made me think, like, I don't know, like, why am I? And I had to make a shift. I don't know why I'm doing it. And nobody ever said anything. So okay, maybe I need to make a change. But
yeah,
sometimes it don't feel good. But it's like, okay, like this is good. Let's talk about this. And people laugh all the time because I tell them like the relationship I had with my child, he
yeah,
pretty much will tell me everything for the most
yeah,
part. And if he feels like he's not comfortable enough to tell me, then he will call one of his godparents and talk to them
yeah,
about it. And then
yeah,
it'll circle back with me. Or maybe it's something that just stays over there. Like he
yeah,
has the ability to be able to do that when a lot of children don't. But me and my son sit down and we talk about the good stuff. We talk about the bad stuff. And that's why we have our dynamic to where, we can laugh and joke and kick it and
yeah,
have a great time with each other, but I also know when to switch that over and be his mom when that's what he needs at that time. And I
yeah.
really appreciate the dynamic that I'm able to have with him.
Yeah, and just keeping that open door of saying, I'm here to listen to whatever's going on with
Yeah.
you. That changes the course of any dynamic with a child. But if a child feels like you gonna judge them, or you gonna put them down, or
Yeah.
they're not gonna want to talk to you. They're
Yeah.
not. And so,
And what they tell you might piss you off. It might, but you
yep,
still got to know kind of you have to know how to maneuver through that. I never want to send my
yeah,
child out in the world and he's going through something and he feels like he can't call his mom.
yeah,
I don't care what it is. We can be
yeah,
mad later. Pick up the phone.
yeah. And a lot of it is being able to manage your own emotions when they're talking. Because
Mhm.
I know
I have to get better
teenagers.
with that.
Yeah, and I had teenagers coming into therapy, and they were like, "Oh, I did such and such," and I could tell they looking for a certain response from me. I said, "Oh, really? You did that? And how did that make you feel? What was the result of you doing that?" Like, and they're like, "Oh, I thought she was gone." No, let's talk about
Mhm.
it.
That's a
You
process
did
too. I
it.
have to do
You
better
made
with
a
that.
choice. What?
See, I would have
What?
been like, "You did what? Now why would you do that?"
Oh, trust me, I didn't heard some of the. I know their parents like, I wish I could, and I'm like, you can't know. Now, if it's
Yeah, no.
something, and
Not
I'll get
unless
to
they
it,
are attempting to harm themselves
yeah.
or somebody else. Other than that,
And
HIPAA.
outside of that, and even with harming themselves, I have to tell them if it's any type of like substance abuse,
Yeah.
alcohol. I'm not going to outright tell your parents, but if I see that it's an issue that's affecting you with your health,
Mhm.
please believe I'm going to bring it to their attention, because they're bringing you here for not just for you to come for therapy, but I am a provider as well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm here about your wellness.
And
And
I have a
so,
code of ethics as well that I have to follow and all that.
yeah, yeah. If you telling me you about to go do some crazy amount of drugs, I'm sorry.
Sorry. We got to
And
do
we can
something
talk
here. I'm a
about
mandated reporter.
we can talk about your choices, your options, and know your parents can't stop you.
Yeah.
And I tell them all the time, I'm not telling them because I want them to stop you per se,
Yeah.
but they're here as a support as well. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that, and with therapy with me, I promote children talking to their parents. I bring the parents in if they're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And I never bring the parents in if they're not comfortable, but that's my whole point. Unless there is some form of abuse happening with those parents, or there's some type of safety issue,
Mm.
I'm like, there's no reason why, for us not to have a conversation with your parents. And if they do something in session that's not appropriate, oh,
Yeah.
I check parents. And I think that's another reason the children are comfortable, because they're like, oh, she gonna make sure they're addressed.
Yeah.
Here shuts down or stonewalls them or gives them harsh criticism. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's find some other words for that, because, and I let the client say, this is how this makes me feel
Yeah.
when you say that.
And I think that's important, especially
Yeah.
for a child. I think that it's important to kind of have that advocate. And it definitely leads them down the right path that makes them want to keep doing therapy.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's something good. Uh,
Yeah. I have my teenagers that graduate high school. I'm going through my next round of them, and I have them. They're like, I'm talking to my therapist at school. Good. Because they out
good.
of state, so I can't see them. And so, or I have them, they check in with me quarterly, like, hey, I'm still doing good. I'm using my tools, or this came up. I might need a session when I come home. But when they realize that you have created a safe zone for them,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
endless. It's
Yeah.
endless possibilities with that relationship. It's just being able to
That's why I
follow.
appreciate the fact that, like, my son is very blessed that he's able to kind of have that safe space in you. And he's able to get what he needs, not only from you, but from your husband as well. That he's
Yeah,
able to kind of go and be able to use you all as a resource. And that's
yeah,
why I encourage him to like continue to do so in some moments. I'm like, okay, call Jay.
yeah.
Talk to him, see what's going on, or he don't want to do it. I
Exactly.
feel
And
like,
you already know how I damn it work. If I'm like, if he like, okay, yeah, you can tell my mama, okay, hey, this was
yeah,
going on,
yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure,
And honestly, I couldn't see it any other way,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, he knows he has support
Hmm.
all around him, and
It takes a village,
yes, it does.
and we're doing it, and we almost have a grown man on our hands.
Yes, yes,
That's wild. That's crazy. Well,
yes.
I appreciate you for joining me.
Thank
I have another
you.
segment too, but I'm not going to keep you for that because I know they need to go to bed, and I keep hearing little feet.
Yep.
Did you give them some cherry juice?
I did not. You know what? They've been doing really good.
They've been sleeping.
Yes,
Really?
yes.
I'm
The
shocked.
last 2 nights.
Oh,
Not gonna miss one.
knock on wood.
They've
Okay,
been
yes. Well,
doing
don't
good.
get them on their schedule. I'm proud. I'm proud.
Yes.
Well, I thank you for joining. I think that we
Thank
had a great
you.
conversation. I appreciate you for taking the time in the midst of everything that you have going on.
Yes.
Much appreciated. Thank you
Of
for being an
course.
amazing friend all these years. People talk about soulmates a lot and they refer to it like more romantically, but I think that we
Oh,
are a great example of like literal like platonic like
yep.
soulmates.
Yeah.
And
You were the same.
we are. I have amazing soulmates. So yes, thank you. Much appreciated. And
Thank you for having
yeah,
me.
I am tell people how to find you.
Yes, so I am like almost everywhere. I'm trying to get on TikTok a little bit more, but if you just put in Kenisha Henderson, LCSW, in Google, I'm gonna come up. I'm on Psychology Today. I'm on Facebook, KCH underscore therapeutic services on Instagram, but KCH therapeutic services on Facebook.
Mhm.
Um,
She's
yeah,
licensed for in the state of Texas.
yes, the state of Texas. So
So are
I can
you
only see
accepting new
people
clients?
in Texas. Yes.
Okay, so she is accepting new clients in the state of Texas. So for all my
Mhm.
Texas people, if you need therapy, then voila.
Or know someone that needs it. Yep. Send them my way. But thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Now
Kiss,
everybody go talk about it in therapy, okay?
talk about it in therapy. I like that shirt. Let me know when the other shirts come out too. The one the you good one. I like that.
Oh, I'm gonna send you. I gotta send you his site, so I'll
Okay,
send you his
yeah. Yeah,
site.
send it to me. I like that.
Yes, I am so proud of him for
Thanks.
doing it. So
Yeah, that's
I will
dope.
be definitely highlighting him probably on my social media too. So
Good.
yes.
I'll share it.
Thank you.
All right. Love you. Get some rest. Have a good
Love
night.
you too. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your show.
I shall. We're almost done here. We'll wrap it on up.
All righty.
Bye, friend. Dang. That was so abrupt. So now we're gonna move into the last segment, so that we can get out of here. So I'm gonna try to make this quick, and you're gonna join me. You heard me? Are you down? So social media this week had this video that went viral. Did you see the video with the teacher with the kids taking down his hair? I've been seeing it all over social media. I didn't post my opinion because one thing with me is I like to, in situations like this, I like to make sure that I kind of have all information from all sides. And so I've really gone down multiple rabbit holes. I've been all over his TikTok, watching videos, different blogs, different comments. And I think that has led me to be able to form an opinion. Before I give my opinion, you were an educator. I think if I read recently, did you say 22 years? How many years was
20,
it?
23.
23.
I can't remember now. 22.
Okay. So seeing that video, what was your first reaction? Well, and actually, let me say that. Let's say you didn't see any of the social media comments about it, but you just simply were scrolling social media and you saw that video. What would your reaction have been?
So to be fair, I did not see social media commentary. I just saw the video and I saw the kids and I saw them talking.
Okay.
That was my first introduction to it.
Okay.
As a former educator, a former classroom teacher, elementary and high school, my first thing was, oh, that's cool. That's cool that they helping them out.
Okay.
If you know students in schools, if you are a female teacher and you have hair, and it always happened with teachers that are white, mostly white, that the kids want to play in their hair because their hair is like the dolls that we have been forced to have our children have. Like
I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
So they always want to play in their hair and they would let them play in their hair. I would kind of be like, I would have an issue with that just a little bit because it's playing that white lady hater. I mean, and it's not super racist, but it's just more so like
that's racist.
It kind of is, but it's kind of like, it's like, yeah, get out their hair. Like, don't be playing in their hair. But at the same time, it is very important to have that relationship with the teacher. The teacher and student relationship is very, very, very special. So
I'm going to preface this by saying, number one, duality is a thing. I say that all the time. More than one thing can be true at the same time. Number two, I mean, this is my opinion. Everybody has their opinions. This is mine. I looked at his TikTok, and what's surprising to me is that
before you look at TikTok,
let's talk. Okay,
comment on it without seeing anything.
Okay, I didn't see anything wrong with it. When I looked at the video, I saw kids taking down a teacher's hair while he looked like he was grading, manning the classroom. I didn't see anything sensual. My mind didn't go there. I agree. It went to, oh, they're taking down his hair. I saw and felt nothing wrong with it. I don't even understand how and why this went viral. Because just a few weeks ago, I saw a video of a teacher doing her students' hair in class. She was braiding the hair. It was a teacher, it was a white teacher. Her kids were like coloring her hair. It was another teacher, I think they were cutting her hair. Like, it's not the first time I've seen it. I am confused as to why this particular video went viral. Not sure at all. I did go on his TikTok, and from what I saw, he's a science teacher, and he appears to be a very amazing and educated and knowledgeable science teacher. From what I saw in the videos that he posted, he seems to have a very good relationship with the children, and it's not just the girls. There were videos with boys as well. It was a mixture of them. Now, I did see a video or two that I feel like was teetering the line that I would not have posted based off of the content. Like one of the videos was like a Q&A. The kids were asking him different like questions. And these are teenagers, so I mean you can imagine some of the questions. So personally, I feel like he probably should not have put those videos out there. Like if that video had went viral, I would have understood why. He posted a video because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the school didn't know you was doing this, and the school didn't know." He literally posted a video. The school not only knew that he was on social media, they acknowledged the social media following that he had, and they used it to their advantage. The school would come to him and be like, "Hey, these kids need glasses for the eclipse, and you have a social media following, so maybe you can put it out there and ask your followers if they're willing to donate money or glasses for the kids to see the eclipse." So the school was they knew what was going on. There were parents that spoke out, and one of the parents, she said she knew every single child on the video. She talked about how amazing he is as a teacher. They never got any weird vibes from him. They talked about the children speak 3 different languages. They're all straight A students. They love him as a teacher. And the entire situation was unfortunate. And one of the moms mentioned that she was sad about how people were projecting onto the children as far as their own traumas, and things kind of being over sexualized. So I just been like, I don't know. I mean, I have a kid who has had close relationships with teachers. I feel like with me being a single mom, like when teachers hear that, it's like it touches their heart. So, I mean, even when we were in Austin, Dylan had teachers that would pick him up, drop him off if I needed, feed him. He would be hanging out with their children. Even from the time he started school, like K3, there has been at least one teacher a year that he has been close to. And I never felt or thought or saw anything like weird. I don't know. It's just, I feel sorry for the students. And I also feel like this is the thing. You want your children to be around a positive male role model. So he, in their mind, in their parents' mind, was a positive male role model. And now this has happened. I wonder, what do they think now?
I wonder what else we don't know. I know these
that too.
all the social media. And
yeah.
Although I've been in the classroom, I've also been an administrator. And I also have been a leader of teachers.
Yeah.
And there are teachers that do the most. And there are teachers that do the most on a regular basis, and they are I can't think of the word I'm thinking of, but they will push the envelope on appropriateness.
They're extra, like yeah.
So although that was not inappropriate, I don't know what has happened where he had to be talked to, because sometimes teachers that are at that level of being really, really, really trusted and put on a pedestal by parents and teachers and students all love, they push the envelope with the administration on what they're going to do, and almost like ask for forgiveness after.
And even with his social media following in the school knew what they can get out of it, maybe like you said, that was a way too, like, he's benefiting us right now. Let him just do,
right,
whatever.
Right. He won't ask for permission, but ask for forgiveness after he does something. I think he does something. I was like, I didn't know that. I didn't have to do. I couldn't do that.
Yeah. I didn't think about it like that. That's true.
It's just it's a lot that's missing from it. So the fact that he lost his job is unfortunate. I don't know if that's the only reason. It may have been the final straw, but
they said it was at a district level. It wasn't. It was at the district.
Yeah, level. I've had relationships with students where I knew the parents. I would pick them up, drop them off. They stay after school with me. They come to my house. My wife will pick them up. And they hang with my kids. I had senior skip day was at my house. Like we set it up so they would skip. They skipped. It tried to start a tradition where they would skip. I wanted to have control over the skipping. So they wouldn't skip and go do something stupid. Like they would skip and they had barbecue at my house. So they was no seniors came to school that day. They went to my house and we had DJ Mr. Martin show up and he actually DJ and we had a party. It was a party.
It's a whole thing.
We had a party. If that was caught on social media,
oh please.
If that was on social media,
imagine that.
Exactly. So
phones.
It's the only thing that is different about this is social media. I say all that social
and
media.
that's the thing. I don't think I wouldn't have posted that.
I wouldn't have posted it. No,
I wouldn't have posted it. And I mean, based off his TikTok, I mean, that's his content, but I would not have posted that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I would have kept that. But again, I don't know why this particular video went viral. And it's very unfortunate, but again, I didn't see anything wrong with the video, but I definitely witnessed situations where he crossed boundaries and things could have got tricky. And hopefully this is a learning lesson. And if he ever enters into the industry again,
he will be.
He when you know better, you do better. But yep, that is our show for today. I want to say thank you to the people who still listen to me audio. I was looking at some stuff yesterday and I saw you all in there, and I definitely appreciate you all sticking with me and listening to me on audio. And that's pretty much all I have today. And until next time, I'm going to call you all back. Bye.